organizations that have expressed their reactions is the Independent Police Complaint Board, IPCB, which says it has begun an investigation into the said matter. What are the investigations and how far has it gone since they began? This afternoon, I'm joined by the Communications Officer of the Independent Police Complaint Board, Amadu Bah. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me here.
Indeed, it's a pleasure having you in our studio this afternoon. This is a very topical issue which has been on charted territory since it's begun. What prompted you indeed as a board to launch this investigation?
It's because of the allegations against the police. As per mandate, the Independent Police Complaint Board is an independent civilian oversight institution created by government to ensure that the police fully account for their actions. If you take a close look at the mandate of the board, it provided for under section 3.1 and 2 of the Independent Police Complaint Board Regulation 2013. And when we heard about these allegations against the police, especially the ones that allegedly exposed L.a.j to inhuman treatment, prevention of his lawyers and family members to having access to him, we thought it would be good for us to conduct investigation into the allegations to determine whether they are true or false. So last week, I think it was on Friday, we opened the file, and then on Monday we notified the public that we've commenced investigation into the allegations against police officers.
Just thinking that work for you must be quite tough.
Absolutely.
For you these days.
Exactly.
There's a barrage of complaints being tendered against police officers of the force of good, isn't it?
Oh yes, and again you have to manage the expectation of the public and that of the police as well. So we are very, very careful, and that's why when this incident came up, and in fact with other incidents that had come up before now, we are very careful with taking any position. We normally don't take any position because the IPCB is an investigative institution. So we allow the outcome of our investigation to determine where we stand on allegation, and that's the same thing that is going to happen with this particular investigation.
What exactly are the particulars of what you're investigating this time around?
Yeah, as I said a while ago, we are looking into allegations of degrading treatment. That is one. Secondly, we are looking into the allegation that some kind of liquid was injected into his system. We are also looking at shaving off his dreadlocks, and also allegations from his family and the media lawyers that they denied them access to L.a.j. So we're looking into all of those. We want to determine whether the action of the police was within the ambit of the law, because the police, as part of a government, they are to ensure that the rights of people are not only protected but also promoted. So we want to know whether they fall within the ambit of the law.
How far are you willing to stretch this investigation?
Well, it depends to the process. We don't control the investigation. Sorry, we don't determine how it goes. It is the investigation exercise that takes us to wherever it takes us anyway. You know, and then we have so many players that we intend to interview as well. The case. One, the police, we are now taking statement from the police. After the police, we will also have to look at L.a.j, the lawyers, the family members, and even the attendant where this whole fracas started from. And then if we are able to have witnesses from the statement from all the parties, then we'll have to invite those witnesses.
You mentioned the police. Who exactly among police would you be interviewing?
Well, those that are involved, those that effected the arrest, and those that had it under custody.
At Benghazi?
Well, at the OSD headquarters.
OSD headquarters. Would this process be transparent?
Absolutely,
that's an issue.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. And interestingly, we've conducted a number of investigation exercises before now. We've had very few challenges. I mean, people challenging the report. But again, we ask the question. If you are not in agreement with the outcome of the investigation, get us the evidence that you think that will change the course of the outcome. We are yet to get that from anybody. The last challenge we threw out was about 2 years ago, and nobody has come up. So this is going to be a good investigation. The outcome will be very, very fair.
You sound like an honest man. I'm afraid you might have your hair cut, but better still be shaved eventually you're sacked. That's your afraid.
Where there are guiding principles at the IPCB, we also have a standard operating procedure that guides the process at the board. It determines how our investigators should conduct themselves, the complaint managers, and even we, the communications people, how we should conduct ourselves.
You know, let's talk about ethics and etiquette for a while. Are you involved in a way to training the police force?
Yes.
Or you're just there to only investigate?
No. In fact, as I mentioned earlier on, Section 3, Subsection 2 of the IPCB regulations of 2013 mandates the board to advise the Sierra Leone Police, especially the Executive Management Board, on how we could improve on policing in general. Mind you, now we are talking about 21st century policing, that democratic policing. What should we do to ensure that we improve on police professionalism? What have we been doing? And part of our advice is to conduct training for police officers. First and foremost, we kicked off with a police oversight. We want them to understand the basics. What is police oversight? What are we here to do as independent police complaint officers? And the next one is we also conducted training on democratic policing, the principles. We also conducted training on the guidelines on the conditions of arrest, police custody and pretrial detention in Africa, otherwise known as the Luanda guidelines. These were put together by the African Commission on Human and People's Rights sometimes in May of 2014. It has about 8 parts. If we say we are going through all of those 8 parts, trust me, you won't talk to my co-guest here from basic education. I'll be very honest here. It has 8 parts. It talk about arrest, police custody, pretrial detention, registers. It talk about conditions for serious violations, what should happen when there are allegations of serious violation like the one we are now handling. You know, you talk about conditions while in police custody and pretrial detention. You talk about vulnerable groups, what should happen when police officers have vulnerable people, what should they do? These are people that need special care. You talk about accountability. That is where the IPCB comes in, accountability. All police officers must ensure that they account for their actions. Mind you, they have been given the law to protect. They are not above the law. They should conduct themselves within the ambit of the law. And that is where the IPCB comes in to ensure that whether the actions of the police are within the ambit of the law. You know, when we read their press release on Saturday the 18th of this month, they justified the shaving off of L.a.j's dreadlocks.
So it's a standard
operating procedure. So we are now going to assess the SOP in line with the constitution of this country and other international instruments. That's why we have a legal representative on the board. He's going to advise the board whether it is in line with the said document that I just highlighted. And again, we might, I repeat, we might even go out for other legal opinions from people that are knowledgeable in the laws of this country or an international instrument, and that is provided for under Section 7. We can cooperate. We can even engage you if we need your expertise. So it is within the ambit of the IPC regulation to seek out views of experts.
Isn't the board frightened at this stage that the Sierra Leone Police might have amassed much more powers than they should?
Frightened in what sense? I mean, like...
That the police might have amassed a lot more power than they should in the first place, as the Sierra Leone Police. A lot of things have been happening. You know, all over the place there have been complaints, harassment of, bike riders, taxi drivers, corrupt activities, a lot of those things, Those things have been quite visible. And no one questions the Sierra Leone Police. In most cases, they go away free, from the shackles of punishment and all of those, for impunity.
Well, the IPCB is not frightened. We are only concerned because we, by virtue of the laws of this country, the police is not above the law. The police is expected to conduct itself within the ambit of the laws of this country and also international instruments. At the IPCB case, all the cases that we've received so far, they are either being investigated or they are under investigation. So as far as the IPCB mandate is concerned, police have not gone free with the cases that are within at the board.
Amadu Bah continues to open the podium. He's the communications officer, independent police complaint board, speaking to me here on the podium this afternoon.